Have you ever thought that ignoring her will make her chase you? Many men do. They believe silence is a strategy, a weapon, a way to flip the script. But let me ask you this. If silence really worked, why do so many men who try it end up alone? And here's the shocking truth. Women don't fall for silence. They see right through it. Because silence, when misused, isn't powerful at all. It's the fastest way to lose not just her, but her respect for you. And that's the piece most men miss. She doesn't see strength in silence when it's laced with ego, insecurity, or games. She sees immaturity. She sees a man who hasn't mastered himself. The Stoics taught something very different. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That single line sets the tone for everything we're about to explore. Because here's the truth. Ignoring someone to provoke a reaction is not self-control. It's emotional gambling. And every time you do it, you bet against yourself. In this video, we'll uncover the real power of silence. Not the weak silence of manipulation, but the rare silence of Stoic strength. You'll see why most men get it wrong, how Stoic silence changes everything, and how to use it to build respect, attraction, and self-mastery. By the end, you'll understand why true silence doesn't push her away. It makes you unforgettable. So let's begin. Section 1. The mistake of tactical silence. Many men today believe that pulling back equals power. They think, if I ignore her, she'll miss me. If I stay silent, she'll chase. It sounds clever, almost like a secret strategy passed around on forums or in late-night conversations. But here's the reality. When you use silence as a tactic, you don't look strong. You look insecure. It doesn't signal leadership. It signals fear. You're not showing control. You're showing that her attention controls you. Think about it. She sends a vague text, and instead of responding, you wait hours, maybe days. You tell yourself, I'll teach her a lesson. But to her, your silence doesn't say, I'm confident. It says, I'm emotionally shaky. I don't know how to handle myself. And here's where the Stoics give us a different lens. They taught that true power comes from mastering yourself, not manipulating others. Marcus Aurelius never wrote about ignoring people to get a reaction. Epictetus never advised silence as a weapon. Why? Because tactics built on ego always collapse. When you use silence to provoke, you're gambling with emotions. And like any gambler, you may win a reaction once or twice, but over time, you lose. You lose respect, you lose trust, and most importantly, you lose your own center. Women don't see mystery in that kind of silence. They see immaturity. They see a man who hasn't learned how to communicate directly, calmly, honestly. The lesson? Silence isn't powerful when it's a trick. It's powerful only when it comes from presence, composure, and self-control. Section 2. Reaction versus response. There's a world of difference between reacting and responding. Most men don't see it. They think their quick reply, their burst of silence, their sudden cold shoulder, that's strength. But it's not strength, it's just a reaction. A reaction is impulsive. It comes fast, without thought. It's fueled by emotion, anger, jealousy, pride. Imagine this. She mentions another guy in passing. Instantly, your chest tightens, your mind races, and before you even breathe, you snap back with sarcasm or icy silence. That's not power. That's your emotions pulling your strings like a puppet. Now compare that with a response. A response is chosen. It's slow. It carries weight because it comes after reflection, not impulse. The Stoics believed that between stimulus and action lies a space, a sacred pause. And inside that pause is where wisdom lives. When you respond, you're not trying to wound or win. You're aligning your action with virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. You may choose to speak with clarity. I hear what you said, and here's how I see it. Or you may choose to let go with grace, refusing to let your ego demand the last word. The key is this: responding keeps you grounded. Reacting throws you off balance. One builds respect, the other erodes it. And women can tell instantly which man they're dealing with. The man who reacts feels chaotic, unpredictable. The man who responds feels calm, trustworthy, safe. And safety, more than charm, more than words, is what creates lasting attraction. So the question becomes, when emotion rises, do you snap back without thought, or do you breathe, pause, and choose? That choice is what separates the ordinary man from the Stoic man. Section 3. The 3 principles of Stoic silence. Silence is tricky. Used poorly, it becomes a weapon that cuts both ways. But used wisely, it becomes one of the most powerful tools a man can carry. The Stoics never treated silence as avoidance. They treated it as a discipline, a way of living with clarity. The first principle: control yourself, not others. When you go silent just to provoke her, waiting hours to reply, ignoring her message, you're not controlling yourself. You're trying to control her emotions. That's not Stoic. That's manipulation. Real power is staying steady inside, no matter how long her reply takes. The second principle: detachment is not avoidance. To detach doesn't mean disappearing, ghosting, or running from discomfort. It means stepping back far enough to see clearly. You acknowledge the knot in your stomach, but you don't let it dictate your actions. Detachment is choosing perspective, not escape. And the third principle: emotional silence isn't Stoic silence. Emotional silence says, I'm scared, so I'll shut down. Stoic silence says, I'm calm, so I don't need to rush. One comes from fear, the other from strength. Picture Seneca today, left on read. Would he panic? Would he play games? No. He'd reflect, what does this moment reveal about me? That's the Stoic way, using silence as a mirror, not a weapon. Together, these principles transform silence from a tactic into a sign of character. She doesn't see insecurity, she sees presence. She doesn't see pettiness, she sees steadiness. And in a world full of men playing games, that steadiness is magnetic. And the more you embody it, the more she realizes that your calmness is not a weakness, but an unshakable strength. Section 4. Silence as a mirror. Most men treat silence as a weapon. They think ignoring her will make her chase, that withholding replies creates mystery. But true Stoic silence is different. It's not a tactic, it's a mirror. Imagine Seneca in today's world, left on read. Would he panic? Would he start strategizing about how long to wait before replying? No. He would pause, reflect, and ask a better question. What does this moment reveal about me? That's the shift. Instead of using silence to punish or manipulate, the Stoic uses silence to observe and learn. If her pause triggers anxiety, jealousy, or insecurity inside you, the silence has already served its purpose. It has revealed what you need to strengthen within yourself. When silence is treated as reflection, it transforms. It's no longer a battle of who texts last or who cares less. It becomes a moment of self-knowledge. And self-knowledge, lived honestly, radiates outward. She sees not a man scrambling for validation, but someone who can sit comfortably with uncertainty, who doesn't need to fill every gap with noise. So next time silence appears, don't rush to weaponize it. Let it be a mirror. Ask yourself, what does this stir in me? What does it teach me about the work I still need to do? In that shift, silence stops being a game and starts being a teacher. Section 5. An alternative to ignoring. If silence isn't a weapon, then what do you do instead? The Stoic path offers a clear answer. You respond with presence, not absence. First, you observe. Instead of rushing to conclusions about her delay, her short reply, or her mood, you take a breath and watch. What patterns do you see? What does her action say, not about your worth, but about her state? Observation gives you clarity, and clarity protects you from overreacting. Second, you communicate, not to manipulate but to express. You say what you mean calmly, directly. I value honesty. I need reciprocity, not in anger, not in pleading, but in clarity. This isn't persuasion, it's expression. It's the practice of courage, to reveal your truth without fear of losing someone who can't meet it. Third, you hold your standard. If she can't meet it, you don't explode. You don't shame her. You simply step back with calm conviction. Walking away in peace shows more strength than staying in chaos. That's the Stoic difference. You don't abandon your values just to keep someone close. This is the difference between ignoring and embodying. Ignoring says, I'll punish you into choosing me. Embodying says, I know who I am, and I live it openly. One pushes her away, the other draws her toward you, not because you demand it, but because dignity attracts where desperation repels. So don't ghost, don't chase, don't shrink to fit. Respond with presence, express your truth, and stand firm. That is the Stoic alternative to playing games, a path that builds respect, deepens trust, and keeps you free no matter what she chooses. Conclusion: the true power of silence. When you live with Stoic intention, silence stops being a trick and becomes something with true meaning and strength. It is no longer a weapon to punish her, but a reflection of who you are. You don't need to be loud with words, you are loud with presence. In your interactions with her, this presence speaks louder than any clever line or dramatic withdrawal. While most men play emotional games, the Stoic man rises above them. He does not chase, he does not ghost, and he does not gamble for attention. He transcends the game entirely, because he knows his value does not depend on being constantly acknowledged. That's the paradox. You win not by ignoring her, but by overcoming the need to be validated in the first place. A man who no longer needs approval cannot be shaken, not by rejection, not by silence, not even by her. And that rare steadiness is exactly what makes him magnetic. So here's the lesson. Don't treat silence as manipulation. Treat it as mastery. Become the man who is calm in the storm, who stands firm in his values, who offers safety without desperation. That is the man she will respect, and that is the man worth choosing. Thank you for watching Stoic Wisdom today. And let me ask you this. If she were to remember you by one quiet moment, what would you want that silence to say about you? Share your answer in the comments. I'd love to know. If today's message spoke to you, join us here at Stoic Wisdom today. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and keep walking this path where ancient wisdom meets modern love. Until next time, stay calm, stay grounded, stay stoic.